So let's just get right into it. What if I told you that some of the most powerful, life changing prayers in the entire Bible didn't happen while someone was perfectly kneeling? What if they happened while they were just lying in bed? Yeah, that might just change how you think about prayer. Come on, be honest for a second. Have you ever been lying there at night wanting to talk to God, but there's this little voice in your head whispering, "You're just being lazy. If you were really serious, you'd get on your knees." If that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone, and we are about to completely take that feeling apart. So, where does that guilt even come from? Well, for a lot of us, there's this unspoken idea that kneeling is the gold standard of prayer, right? It looks holy, it feels respectful, and anything less can feel like we're just not giving God our best. But what's really fascinating is that this feeling, it doesn't come from God. It actually comes from this quiet belief we've all kind of picked up somewhere along the way that if we're comfortable, we're somehow canceling out our sincerity. We've been taught, maybe without even realizing it, that real devotion has to feel like hard work. But here's the thing. When you actually crack open the Bible, it paints a totally different picture. Scripture never, not once, commands a single physical position for prayer. In fact, it gives us some incredibly powerful examples of the exact opposite. Let's start with King David. This is the guy the Bible calls a man after God's own heart. And where did he often connect with God? Yep, on his bed. And not just when he was chilling out, but in his moments of total weakness, when he was exhausted and just longing for God. Just listen to that. "On my bed, I remember you." Does that sound like laziness to you? No way. That sounds like deep, personal intimacy. It's about turning to God in those quiet, vulnerable moments when nobody else is even watching. And David isn't the only one. Check out King Hezekiah for an even more dramatic story. He gets hit with the most devastating news you can imagine from the prophet Isaiah, who basically says, "You are going to die." And he's already sick, in his bed, facing the end. So what does he do? He doesn't scramble to get up and put on some big performance prayer. He simply turns his face to the wall and prays, right there, lying down. And God's response? He doesn't say, "Hey, you should be kneeling." No. He hears the man's honest heart and adds 15 years to his life. And this gets us to the absolute heart of the matter. You see, the Bible isn't nearly as concerned with our physical posture as it is with the posture of our hearts. So the real question isn't how you're positioned. The real question is why. Okay, let's break this down. On one hand, praying while lying down is incredibly powerful when you're just spent. You're exhausted, but you are still intentionally choosing to turn your thoughts toward God. Your heart is heavy, the words come slow. That's humility. But on the other hand, it's weak if lying down is just an excuse to drift off. With those half-awake, disengaged words where God is more of an afterthought. That's just distraction. We actually see this exact principle play out in the Garden of Gethsemane. Jesus doesn't get mad at his disciples for being tired. He even gets it, saying, "The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." He corrects them because they were asked to be watchful and present with him, and instead, they just fell asleep. See, the problem wasn't their exhaustion. The problem was that they totally checked out. So here's the real takeaway. Your posture just reveals your priority in that moment. If lying down helps you quiet the world and genuinely open your heart to God, then for you, it is a powerful tool. But if it consistently just pulls you into distraction or becomes a fast track to dreamland, well, then it's actually getting in the way of the very thing you're trying to do. Okay, so with all that in mind, let's bring this all home. Let's talk about what God is actually listening for, because it might not be what you think. Let's just be super clear about this. God is not sitting in heaven with some kind of cosmic checklist tracking whether you're kneeling, standing, or lying on your side. That is a human-made measurement, not a divine one. So if he's not tracking your posture, what is he looking for? Your direction. That's it. The simple, intentional act of turning your heart and your attention toward him, that is the beginning and the end of every real prayer. And you see this pattern everywhere in Scripture. Hezekiah turned his face to a wall. Jonah prayed from the belly of a giant fish. You can't get much more unconventional than that. David prayed in caves, on battlefields, and yes, on his bed. The location, the position, it was all secondary. The direction of their hearts was everything. So how can you tell if that feeling you get is from God or not? Use this as a filter. On one side, you've got guilt. That's the voice that says, "You're failing, you're not doing enough." And notice, it always pushes you away from God. But on the other side, you've got conviction. That voice is totally different. It always, always says, "Come closer." It's an invitation that pulls you deeper into relationship, no matter how weak you feel. And that really is the bottom line. God would so much rather receive your tired, messy, honest prayer from your bed than have you avoid him completely because you're ashamed or too exhausted to do it right. He is looking for your presence, not your performance. So, as you get ready to end your day, here's the final thought to take with you. The question was never, is this the right posture? The real question is my heart turned toward God right now? So tonight, are you going to worry about your physical position, or are you just going to focus on being present with him?